Good morning, everybody. I'm still eating. I decided to, I don't know, I just felt like mini pizzas. I'm still eating. Why do I have, I decided to, why is the double look? Oh my god. I get like instantly so annoyed by double sound. Like there's nothing which can tilt me that fast, I think. But yeah, I just felt like mini pizzas, so now I made myself mini pizzas like 5 minutes ago. So yeah, like I ate one of them already, even though it was way too hot. Because I just couldn't wait. Because I don't know, yeah, I had a craving at like, yeah, it's like not breakfast technically, so you know, not that bad. Nothing tilts you that fast, not even a Katarina support. Nah, definitely no. Like a game will never tilt me as fast as stream issues. Like unexplainable stream issues is a thing where I'm just traumatized. So that's tilting me really fast, but like nothing in game ever will match that. Except I think honestly something which could tilt me that fast would be if I play Minecraft with somebody and we're sort of like making the interior design of a house or something. Um and they just purposefully put everything not like symmetrical or like where it's supposed to go, but just like slightly off. That would tilt me super quick as well. Because if it's not incompetence, but just purposefully like trying to piss you off, I'm like, you get your wish, I'm pissed off. If that makes sense. Like, if the intention is clear that you're trying to piss me off, I'm gonna be pissed off. No, not really, because I mean, I have ways where things are supposed to go, and I'm just happier if they are there. Um, it's not OCD, like my apartment is definitely not clean like enough for that. Um, or honestly, like things don't have enough of a place for them to qualify. Um, but yeah, like symmetry is nice, you know. I don't know. I like symmetry. I like when I know where stuff is. Like that's really convenient actually. Like when you're looking for something in your household and you know where it is and you can instantly find it, that's pretty sick. That's a quality of life right there. But how are you doing, by the way? And welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here already. I love our small talk in the beginning of the stream. I'm very organized myself. I get that, especially in games. Yeah, in games it's just like I'm actually so I can't really say I'm organized in games because I am sort of one of those people where like I do like some sort of organization with like Minecraft chests, for example, and stuff. But there's also times where I just give up, if that makes sense. Like I don't know, like it doesn't make sense anymore. And then it's just like, well, GG's. Like there's sort of like a general theme, but it doesn't go any more detailed than that. Um, and then there's also always a chest which is the dumping chest, which is actually not trash, but just stuff where you didn't have the time to put it in or didn't feel like putting it in. And then usually that chest gets full way too quick because once I sort of like put that in the game, everybody who's playing with me is always all the time gonna throw all of their shit only in that chest, and then the system doesn't work anymore. um, I'm glad you're fine. For me, it's I don't know. I had a weird morning. Um, and also like yesterday was weird. Like my weekend, like on Friday and Saturday, was like really nice. But on Sunday we went to like play tennis, and I was really excited actually. So Sunday morning was also like still like really really good day. Um, And we expected there to be like really good weather because the sun was shining and everything, and it was like 11 degrees, and we thought like, oh my god, it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be the warmest time we play tennis, because we only started when, yeah, we only started playing in winter. So, um, but yeah, when we then were able to like arrive at the court, it was super foggy and super cold, and I was freezing the entire time. And then I couldn't really hit shots because in the beginning I didn't like use gloves. But then my hands were like so cold and I couldn't hit anything, and like every shot was like hurting because of just like having to hold the racket. And then I put my gloves back on, and then I didn't hit any shots because it felt so odd having like the racket with your glove, and then just I don't know, it just felt weird. And I wasn't really able to like make it work. And then I felt like, okay, I'm like maybe warm enough now that I can like put the gloves off again. So I did that, and then it was fine. And then I felt fine again. But it took more than an hour for me to actually get to the point where I could play without gloves. Um, and yeah, so that wasn't too nice. And then I came home and I was like so cold, and I took forever to actually heat up. And I don't know, I wanted to meet with a friend in the evening. But then we just sort of ended up don't meeting, like not meeting. And I felt kind of like guilty, I guess. But at the same time I was like so done. Like I didn't even notice while playing how exhausting it was and how much effort I put into it. But once I came home, I knew how I like used like all my energy on this. Um, yeah. And then today morning, I think it's just honestly a really slow day. Like maybe that could be a thing actually. Like maybe like my body is still like sort of recovering from yesterday, like trying not to get sick. Because we played outdoors, and it's really odd because like you sweat because it's like it's exhausting, right? But at the same time you freeze. Like there's parts of your body which are like really warm and they sweat, and then there's parts of your body which are really cold and they freeze. Um so yeah, I was kind of worried that I would maybe get sick. Um but yeah, I have my tea here now, and I just I was reading a bit in the morning, taking it slow. Yeah. So today's more of like a, I guess, like rest recovery day for me. Yeah. And this is my small highlight. Oh, you're still going strong? Damn. Like for me, wait. For me it was over like 2 days ago. So like do you like is it like really long for you? Like does it stay really long? Because for me like this time it was like rather long. It was like a week. Like not a full week, but like 5 days. Your annual leave? Okay, how does vacation work where you live? So I think my being called is so annoying. Hmm. I see. So today, hopefully the last day then? Or wait, like we did talk like Monday last week about it. Hmm. No, I think it was Thursday last week. Or was it? Hmm. Annual leave is 30 days every accommodable. Right. What? Accommodable to prior years? How does it work? So you just have the same vacation every year, and then you have like 30 days in like after each other, and then you have like no vacation for the rest of the year? Nah, right? Hi Judith, welcome. How you doing? They give 30 days in addition to public holidays and sick leaves. Yeah, okay. But like usually like you pick your holiday, right? So then so here in the Netherlands, I think they give you like what they have to give you is I think like 22 days or something. And then you have your like public holidays, which are actually not many in the Netherlands. It's like 10, and like most of them are on the weekends anyways. But you don't really say annual leave, because you use that like you don't have to use it once. So it's not like a one-time thing you have in your year. But you say like, oh, like I take a week there, I take a week there, and like sort of like do like this. So is that the same for you, or do you say annual leave because it's really just like a one-time leave thing? Ah, okay, okay, okay. Ah, okay, okay. So it's same-ish to us. But actually, that's quite a lot of holidays. That's like 30 days and then like 15 public holidays. That's kind of nice. Like, yeah, like here, I think Zach gets like 25 and he can buy five more and then he has 30. And the public holidays, I think this year are like six, maybe? Ah, no, no, no. I forgot Christmas. So eight, I think. Hi, Ellie. Welcome, welcome. Yeah. Like you have to use them in January from last year, though. So, like, mm. Oh, 15 for sick leaves. I see, I see. So you have a maximum amount of sick leaves? I can't imagine we have that here. I don't think we do. Like I'm like I know that in this just simple sense we definitely do. Don't. Um I don't know if there's maybe a thing where like if you hit a certain amount of sick leaves, um that you then I don't know, like have something bigger you need to get into or something. Or like something bigger to figure out so it's sort of like a resistance um to go over a certain amount. But I don't know if we have something like that either. Damn. So with sick leave, if you're like more sick than this, then you just like you don't get paid anymore. Like you can still be sick, but it's just like how does it work? And Ellie, how are you doing by the way? Yeah, I do know that in the Netherlands they will talk to you if you're sick for too long. Like some doctor is gonna have like an appointment with you and try to figure out how they can help you. So there's like a certain, I guess, amount of pressure because you're gonna get involved um in more stuff if you're sick for too long, if that makes sense. Like you're gonna have to talk to people and sort of explain why you're sick for so long. It's not necessarily negative, but it's just it's a thing where like nobody likes doing it right. Yeah. But yeah, I also don't think it's like from a certain amount of days. Or maybe it is. Hmm. Mm. Mm. Oh no, Ellie. In Germany too, after 6 weeks, and the insurance needs to cover your pay. Mm. It's way earlier in the Netherlands, actually. Like, it's not sick in terms of like you get COVID and you're like 2 weeks sick or something, and then while you're sick, it's more of like a thing if you get sick fairly often, when you're then again on the job, they're gonna ask you to like talk to a doctor to essentially be like, is there anything we can do better here? And like is there anything which needs to change in the work environment? Or is there anything you might need to change at home to be able to function better? So it can literally be that like for 3 months or something, you were sick for like a weekend in each month. And if you're like the business you work at is like, oh, that seems like a lot, you know? Then they're gonna be like, hey, like, is there anything like we can do? Like, do you want to talk to that doctor? Like, do you need any support because you're sick kind of often and stuff like this? Yeah. So it's not negative, but coming from Germany, it feels really weird. Hmm. I see. Hi, Talon. And hi, too. Welcome, welcome. You were forced to go to work when you had COVID. Chill. I mean, to be honest, me too, because I was in a weird contract. Like, it was a study internship contract. In that contract, I wasn't allowed to be ill for longer than 5 days for that half year. Um, and there was no way to make that like have any mm, excuse there. Like it didn't matter what I had. And it wasn't like I couldn't be ill longer, but it was like if you're ill longer, you need to make your internship longer for all of the days you have been sick. So for the first 5 days, which would have been free, and then for like all of the other ones, like for all of that, you would have need to like do the internship longer. Your contract though is a time contract, right? So essentially, in that moment, you need to get another contract with the business you're doing the internship in. If you don't get that contract, your internship does not count, even though you worked there half a year, just because you were like sick for 6 days instead of 5, because they didn't want to let you work there for a day longer or like give you a contract for that amount longer. Um, and the other thing is the next semester starts, right? And so you might not be able to actually like work there still because the next semester is starting already. And you got courses and stuff. So it's a really weird situation where like, oh, technically you can be sick, like don't worry. But at the other like on the other hand, it's gonna fuck up your schedule so much that you might not be able to make it. So when COVID hit, like I got my chronic headache and I was sick for 6 days, and they actually made me aware of this of that contract, or that this was set in the contract because I never in hell would have imagined that. And then I had to work one day in again. Like that was the way I was able to fix it with them, which was like really nice. Um, but yeah, I wasn't able to be sick for any other day. So um, yeah, no matter what I had, I essentially showed up. And thankfully, we had like home office for a sort of longer period of time. So it was way easier to like show up sick, and you didn't really like endanger any other people. But it was really weird and definitely not healthy. Like it might have actually been the reason why I still have headache now, because I wasn't able to like, yeah, take take the sick leave I would have needed back then. Yeah. There's more focus on prevention in the Netherlands, isn't it? With that stuff, yeah. I guess like with the people like talking to like with work and finding a better solution, I would argue so. But I guess it also depends on the workplace, right? Like I don't know if that's the same case with like every workplace. Yeah. But thank you for asking, Talon. I'm doing like okay, like it's a slow day, trying to rest and recharge after the weekend being quite exhausting. But it's good. I just yeah, I have my tea here. I was reading. Yeah. But it's definitely like rest and recovery. Okay. How about you? I was a site engineer for a big company, so missing one day can be very catastrophic. I see. Oh my god, Grumpy. That seems like an impossible job, actually. Like for all 200 plus branches alone? That seems insane. Hi, Tony. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing? We're just doing a bit of small talk actually right now, I think. Getting a little bit into, I guess, work environment, and how different systems have different solutions. So we're talking a little bit about the difference between like Germany and the Netherlands. Grumpy is sharing like her experiences as well. Yeah. That room that has big monitors and computers and everything, the control center basically. I was, oh my god. Like with like all these like different monitors like hanging like all the way to the ceiling. Yo, that at the same time it sounds like so cool, but it sounds so stressful as well, Grumpy. Like, how did you like hold up? Hi Mirandex and hey Kumar, welcome, welcome. How you guys doing? Oh, you started reading the book, Kumar? I'm so glad. How do you like it so far? You're doing well, Tony? That's really good to hear. For me, it's just a rest and recovery day, like a slow day. I've been doing some reading. Got my tea here. Yeah. The weekend was very busy. I've been finishing the Breaking Negative Thinking Patterns book, right? And now I've actually catched up on another book I was reading before, and it's about relationship psychology. And it's really interesting. So there's there's one sentence which sort of like stuck with me because I think it's so interesting. And it's so true, but it's one of those truths where I didn't really understand them for like super long. But they made a really like nice metaphor saying that to dance good salsa with each other, you need to get the trust that stepping on feet is gonna be fine. So essentially, like to train with each other, to be able to get to know each other, to like put more work in and explore more and just progress and progress and progress and progress. You need to be able to make mistakes and know it's going to be fine. Because otherwise, you would be super anxious to take even one step and you wouldn't feel safe enough to try and dance salsa and learn it, right? And I don't know, I thought it's a really, really nice metaphor, I think, actually. because that's really about like just social relationships, right? Doesn't even need to be like your partner, it can be a friend. But to form like a really good relationship to whoever really, there's always going to be the possibility to make mistakes. But to be really comfortable with each other and to be able to be really comfortable with each other, you need to know that making mistakes is going to be okay. And I thought that's so sweet. Such a cute metaphor, I think. It's good. I'm on the identification part of the modes. I'm really curious about the part 2. That's real juice I'm there for. I can't wait to hear feedback on the book. But I'm glad you like it. I also really enjoyed it. I think it's really nicely written, right? Like they're sort of like very, they don't use too many words. Like they don't waste time. um, but they explain it well enough with examples and everything that you can actually like understand what they mean. Which is also, I think, like it's one of those like balances, I think, which is especially important in books where the topic you talk about is like a really intellectual topic, let's say. So for example, like psychology, I think is especially one of those topics. It's a hard balance to not over explain and like waste time and then you just lose focus because like, oh my god, we're going over this for the 5th time already. And on the other hand, being like, okay, how do we know? Where do we find out? Is that common knowledge? What do you want from me? I think that's one of those balances where like some books are like too fast and other books are like way too slow. But they do it like really, like it's one of the most fast-paced books, I think, which has a like big enough explanation that I think anybody can understand it. It was a really stressful job. Any missing records can cause a penalty. Oof, I see. Mm. Today, Mirandex, or when is your exam coming up? But all right. Just watched the Super Bowl at a pub. Happy that someone from my country was part of the winning team. Was it nice? Were there like a lot of other people watching the Super Bowl as well? There like a nice atmosphere talent. One thing I learned on the first page was the first situation that she shared involved a term that I had not been able to put to words. Like I tell people I got kind of bullied for a year almost, but I actually got mobbed. So yeah, yeah. The kids would think I was dirty or couldn't be touched like that. One wimpy kid book. Mm, yeah. Yeah, honestly, stuff like this is super hard because you like, yeah, you just experience the rejection, but there's like, it's really hard to do something against it actually. Like I always feel for kids who have like skin issues. So there was like one boy in our school who had like had really bad skin issues. So like actually like the skin of his hand would always like flake off and everything, but also like everywhere of his on his body actually. And because of that, like nobody wanted to like share the table with him or do anything with him because everybody thought it's like disgusting. But it's like at the end of the day, right? It's just like he personally like that kid can't really do much against it. Like he would need a proper doctor and like proper like good creams and everything to like get that like skin condition in check, right? But it's like so hard, I guess, because like if you're a teenager, like your hormones go like all the way down and up and everything. And I can imagine that like even for doctors, it's probably hard to match what's missing in that moment because it changes so much. But yeah, it's a very tough situation of like, yeah, just being generally rejected and it's hard to change the situation. Mind you, I don't read books at all on the core stuff for education. I wanted to read this because I saw it as educational, but it's very accessible. A book with pictures, sign me up. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I love about it as well. Like it's really like it's getting straight to the point, but exactly like you say, like it strikes a really nice balance between being fast paced but being accessible for everybody. So that's really what I love about the book. Hi Raka, welcome, welcome. How are you doing? I'm doing I'm doing all right. I'm like today is rest and recovery. Got a tea here. We're gonna take it slow. The weekend was very busy. And then today afternoon, I can unmold some dice because I made some dice on the weekend. Can't wait how they're gonna look. Tried some new techniques. There was a lot of people. The atmosphere was amazing. Talked to a lot of people as well, which was a surprise. Oh, that's really nice, Talon. I mean, maybe you can even make some new friends there or something. Have some like watch buddies for like for any upcoming matches. I heard that like from a friend of so from a coworker, but also a friend. Um from my husband. It's they have switched places quite often because his wife is actually like very successful and she's always changing jobs, and now they actually moved to Singapore, and they get like it's like fairly like unstressful because they get the apartment and everything like always like for work and stuff. And he's then always just like looking for a job like somewhere like close to her so they can like move together. um and what he says is whenever they try to find new friends, he always does this thing where like after work he goes, or like when he has, for example, like home office, like whenever he sort of can, he goes to a close by cafe to his where his apartment is. And then he just does that for like a couple months. He becomes like a really well-known regular essentially. And apparently, that's okay, not even funny. Well, apparently, um, they because he gets like such a regular, he gets to know people there then. So it's so like he said, it's one of the best strategies for him to find new friends. Like apparently it works like really, really well. And yeah, it's just like he just shows up, goes to the same like cafe and just spends time there, becomes a regular, and then he sort of like over time he also notices who else here is a regular, right? And then I don't know, when somebody like didn't show up for a while and then shows up again, he's maybe gonna be like, ah, you're back and stuff like this, and then they get talking, and I think it's a really smart way actually. Because it's so much like school, right? Like the way we made friends in school and why it was like so much easier than like later on in life, is because we were essentially stuck with a group of people for a long amount of time. And we just sort of got to know them, even if we didn't want to. Like we got to know them on their bad days and on their good days. And it was like so many people there. Like some of them you always click with. Like it might not be many, but like some of them you always do. And he just uses the same principle. Like he always shows up at the same place and he's gonna like spend time with people and he's gonna get to know people and people are gonna get to know him on a good working day and on a bad working day. And yeah, then you just get to know each other. Like very natural actually. That's why I always say like go to a club because it's so nice. It's today. I started the exams thinking I'm not able to be approved and I will fail all exams because I just can't focus. And I think I may be approved in every exam. Oh my god. Let's go, Mirandex. I believe in you. Let's see how it's going to turn out. I hope it's going to be really, really good, Mirandex. But I'm glad you were able to do such a good job. How were you able to deal with the stress before the exam? Like, did you go back to the advice I think like Bilibli gave you one time of like just, drink a tea, calm down? Like, did you talk to a friend? Skin issue kids, even darker color skin or white color skin are very differentiable from brown. Hmm. I'm not sure how you mean this. Like, did you also have skin issues where like your skin has like different shades, or you're waiting for D&D? Yeah, I really felt like D&D on Friday, but then I thought like, like nobody's answering back. Probably nobody has time. And then I actually remembered I still had like wanted to do a present for a friend for Saturday, so then I started going with this. Are you watching the Olympics, Raka? Oh my god, there's so much going on nowadays. Like the Olympics, the Super Bowl, so many sporting. I see. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? This actually, I had to think back of a friend, and she told me that for her, her mom actually had to teach her how to make friends at school. Um, because her mom saw her like not playing with anybody in like the breaks, but only like walking sort of like on the fence, like up and down, essentially. And then her mom was just like, huh, that doesn't seem neurotypical. So let me actually explain to you how friends work. And she turned out like amazing. Like she's able to like make so many friends. And I feel like sometimes I don't know, like maybe I would have needed that too. Like maybe it would have been helpful if somebody explained to me how this shit works. I think there's probably so many kids who would just need that mum to be like, "Do you need help?" You're welcome, Talon. Like I haven't tried it myself with the going to the cafe. I use Bumble. But I think going to the cafe is definitely a really good idea. Hi, Joelle. Welcome, welcome. Such cute emotes. Oh, in your classrooms, the number of kids was 52 to 58. That's huge. At the same time, that can make it better, right? Like, it can make it worse, but it can make it better as well. Like, it's like if you have something for what you are rejected by everybody, it makes it worse because it's a bigger number, right? But at the same time, you have a higher possibility of clicking with somebody. So, in that sense, it can be nice. And you have a sort of, I guess, a chance of maybe just like becoming invisible to the people who don't like you. But yeah, don't stress too much before the exam. And it's weird because after the exam, I forgot everything I did. But the biggest war was focused during the preparation for exam. My mind is every time 1,000 kilometers per hour and thinking about such a useless things. Yeah. Yeah. But I'm at the same time, I'm really glad. Like we talked about it a couple times, right, Mirandex? And I hope we were able to help a little bit. I'm really glad that in the end, now your exams apparently turned out fine, or maybe even really good. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. I always said I'm great at making friends, and I was. All of that stuff happened when I shifted schools. Mm, I see. So you were the new kid in such a big class. Like being the new kid anywhere can be really hard. You just work with like procrastination, child. Oh. Just like doing everything before the exam, and for subjects you don't like, you just don't study at all. I mean, if that works for you, I'm glad. Because I think for a lot of people, it sadly just doesn't. Like in university, I definitely had to learn subjects I didn't feel like learning. Yeah, like my classroom was like, it wasn't 14, like we were definitely more, we were like between, I think between 25 and 30 usually. Um, but yeah, not 50 to 60, like 50 to 60 is a lot. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think in university it definitely gets harder to learn everything just beforehand. Like for most exams, I still did, but learning everything beforehand was like starting a week beforehand and then like hustling, actually hustling, like just studying the entire day into the night, sleeping, waking up, studying again. And yeah, I can't really recommend that. But I do have to say, some of the classes were easier than others. But also, my university was sort of like a really small one, so. Welcome, Red Rum. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Today I'm just chilling. So I got my tea, resting, recovering. That's the vibe. Yeah. Hi, Asa. Welcome, welcome. And hi, for morning. How you doing? Definitely was a giggle. Oh, I'm still tired. Also, I have muscle pain so bad from tennis yesterday. Oh, like while I was playing, I didn't notice how much like effort I was putting into it. Oh, oh my god, no way. My shoulder is hurting so much actually. Like when I try to like massage here, it's so bad. Oh my. Like the left side is better. This is definitely because of tennis, yeah. Because the right side is so bad. It's like super, super hard. It doesn't give at all. Oh, you have burning headache? Is there anything you can do against it for? No, you still have to have liquid food, Asta. Oh, I thought this go would go away like way sooner. Damn. Yeah, liquid food is definitely it's hard. Till next Wednesday. So not even this week Wednesday, but like next week Wednesday. Yeah, not this. Oh my god. I just checked the calendar. Just because I felt like this is gonna be like super long, but like seeing it in the calendar is even worse. Oh man. Like maybe, I don't know. I guess like soups, but like honestly, like eating like only liquid food for so long is gonna suck. Like no matter the food, I think. Because there's just not as much variety probably. Oh, I would hate this so bad. Like I really like crunchy texture. And so how are you holding up so far, Asta? My shoulder feels like it's being stabbed, burnt, frozen, crushed, and torn apart all at the same time. What did you do, Red Room? Why? You tore your shoulder muscle recently, Joel? Oh. Damn, guys, you gotta be careful. Very permanently torn tendons and what is it? Oh, damn. How did that happen, Redrum? Like, that seems really tough. Hmm. The work injury? Oh. Hi, Navandro. Welcome, welcome. I'm just resting and relaxing today, Navandro. How about you? Oh, that's very healthy, Asta. Nice. The procrastination and late night ADHD crisis cramming does not work anymore. Anyone who's doing it, please practice changing your ways before your education you too, and then you'll have to learn new things kids already know. I mean, I do have to say as well, I actually would have liked to learn learning in school. But I was sadly just too good in regular school. So I'm like, the steak is too juicy and the bread is too buttery. Suffering from success. But it's I just yeah, I didn't really learn to learn. Um, except in one in how do you say this in English? In one subject, which is Latin, because I chose Latin. Oh, and English actually. I chose Latin and English. I was so bad. So for those two, I had to learn, and I was so unable to learn that I actually got like a one of those like not a teacher, but like somebody who's teaching you, um, like after class in a one-on-one setting. Um, and I'm actually glad I got the experience of like learning at all, because otherwise I think it would have been even worse. So for example, Zach didn't get the experience of learning at all, and he's really bad if he has to put effort in to get better. Because he's really so used to just being naturally better than others. Which is honestly like it sounds privileged, but it's a curse once you have to do stuff which takes effort. And the thing is, with everything in life, you will always like it's gonna be easy to learn the first part, but then it's like slow progress because then actually the sort of life experience and repetitions and this type of learning is coming in, of just getting the exercise. And if you can't hold through that time because you don't get enough positive feedback of you like progressing, and you feel like you're stuck because you're so used to this amount of positive feedback from progressing, it's actually really hard to get through that part and keep your motivation. So I definitely agree with Kumar. It's really useful to learn to to have a high like frustration tolerance when it comes to learning, like to build that up, because it's not going to be a thing overnight you're going to be fine with, but if you build that up like once to like a good amount, I think it probably like will help you your entire life. Oh, I see now, Andro. What feeling do you have about your exam? Photon muscles could be a band. There. With the potatoes and carrots, my soup isn't watery, so I think that might help. Yeah. I mean, if you just like puree like super many vegetables and then put some cream in it, like soups can be really, really nice and creamy. Exactly, Kumar. I had Latin in high school because my school was a green school, like landscaping, farming, and animal care. Damn. Did you like Latin? No, okay, you hated Latin. Because I hated Latin so much. Oh my god. Jelly, what is that not good at? At a lot of things. Like that's the part, like, because in school it's like the things you learn are like all of them are like very theoretical, right? So usually if you're like smart intellectually, you're gonna be able to succeed in school pretty easy. But once real life hits, you know, and for example, like now you don't want to be good at something theoretical, like I don't know, like English anymore, but you want to be good at tennis, you have to actually put effort in and repetition and time in to get better. It's the same, for example, with playing an instrument or getting good at video games or like so many things. Mm. I think it's actually so interesting that you had the option for German, Kumar. I feel like German is like such a unimportant language, if that makes it. Like, there's not many people who speak it, no? No. I honestly, I liked school because I always just like I had so much free time when I was in school. Like I was so fast with homework and like most homework I just did while other classes were running or I did it like at home but then I was like super fast at it. So I don't know, I just had so much free time in school, which was really nice. All right, well, success with your work and thank you for coming by. It was a pleasure. German teacher was too strict. She was not the vibe, and the German was not part of the official curriculum. Uh, the German teacher being too strict is very on brand, though. The German should have had to learn Dutch. I mean, to be fair, I think some schools which are close to the Netherlands have the option to learn Dutch. But I mean, for like the entirety of Germany to have to learn Dutch, that would not really make sense, right? Like, there's so many countries we like have like borders with, and we don't even learn their language. Like even learning French is a choice. Like you don't have to. So it's just one of those things where like I'm glad we have to learn English, and that's already like the English of like the average English skills are still too bad. So that's yeah. Mm. I mean, I think it's really good that you have so many options. I think having options is always nice, right? So, for example, like I would have loved the option to learn Dutch. I didn't have the option to. At the same time, though, I wouldn't have used it because I didn't know I would like move to the Netherlands, right? Thank you, Judith. You had French, and the only thing you know how to say is "I don't understand." Come on, you for sure also know how to say "my name is Ellie" or something, for sure. Or like how to order a croissant or something. No? You speak enough languages. I mean, okay. I don't know how to answer to this. It's more like a statement. But it seems like it's an answer to my question, but I don't think I questioned anything. It's like, it seems loaded. Like, I speak enough languages, you can't force me. It's like, okay. But yeah, like I would like to speak more languages, but at the same time, I'm super bad at speaking, like learning languages. Because it's one of those things where you need to learn with effort, but at the same time, it's actually also like, I'm really bad at learning languages, like remembering exact words and phrases and stuff like this, and like paying attention to grammar and all of that is a thing I don't even do in German. Like I was even bad in German, you know? And at some point I learned English to the point where like now my English is like this and I'm really proud of that. But it took over 10 years. Like and now I'm supposed to learn Dutch and I'm just like talk to me in 6 years again. Like no, literally the only thing I remember is thank you and I don't understand. And you still passed. Make sure French is easy to learn, but proper pronunciation is so hard. It will never sound good. Aww. Yeah, I thought honestly that would be the same case for me in English, but I'm glad it's getting better. Speak Dutch, Indonesian, English, bad German, and learning Brazilian Portuguese. Yeah, that's actually a lot of language. You also pass and don't remember anything. I learned more German from organic chemistry, like King zusammen. Run a clip of Great Spoken English. Wait. Which clip of my broken English? Excuse me? Which one? There's probably many. You know English and German, Dutch is the middle ground, and time does not matter. Talk to you in Dutch in 6 years, I'll remember. Okay. I'm glad you did. It's like always like because there's so many people think that it's like super easy to learn Dutch for German people. Because they say like, yeah, it's the same thing, right? Then like I come along and I'm just like, no, 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 no. It's like I understand the sentiment, okay? But if you're bad at learning languages, it doesn't matter how easy it is, it's still bad. And honestly, it's because the language is so close, I just don't remember actually Dutch words. I just remember like, oh, this was German and this was English. And this
それでそれでって何なんですかおじさん急に来てしかも玄関であれだけ嫌がってたお前がおとなしくペアリングを続けていると聞いて調子を伺いに来た邪魔をしてはいけないからすぐ帰るよ調子って指切りはまだしてません指切りって蛇は交尾の時に尻尾を絡め合うその形がまるで指切りをしてるように見えることから蛇の交配を指切りと言うんだへえなんかロマンティック蛇とペアリングしたことがないなら知らないだろうなおじさんマシューと俺をくっつけたがってますよねこのペアリング本当に手違いだったのが怪しんでしまうんですけど本当に手違いだただうまくいけばいいと願っている明光は真面目すぎるし経験もないに等しいこの先ろくでもないやつにたぶらかされないか心配なんだその点小ふけなら間違いないだろうし間違いだらけですよおかえりマシュお客さん俺のおじさんどうも 相性は悪くなさそうだ。
適当でしょ、それ。
それじゃあ邪魔しちゃいけないから帰るよ。チャムロ君も行こう。
はーい。お邪魔しました。
ただいま。これ土産、ドーナツ。前通りかかったら食べたくなったから。あんたも食べる？
ありがとう。
それで体は大丈夫か？昨晩仮死状態になりかけてただろう。
ああ、大丈夫。ゆうべは本当にありがとう。
別にそんな大したことしてない。
何だったんだ、今朝のあれ。キスするような雰囲気だった。でもそんなわけないか。マシュ、俺のこと好きじゃないしな。いや、そもそもキスに好きとか関係ないのか。好きだからキスするんじゃなくて性欲処理的なやつだから、あの雰囲気はキスする雰囲気で合ってるのか。でもしなかったもんな、マシュ。しようとしたけどやっぱいいやってなったのか。俺相手だから。まずキスする空気だったのか違うのか、その前提からわからない。違った場合急に一人でそういう雰囲気になってる危ない人間じゃないか、俺。あの時唇が触れそうになってうかつにも目を閉じてしまった。ゆうべから夢が現実かわからない。なんかずっとふわふわした気分だ。ゆうべ、そうだ、ゆうべマシューを挑発するために薄着でベッドに入って待ってるうちにそのまま寝ちゃって、で、あのありさまって絶対マシューに大迷惑かけていい原因じゃなさすぎる。マシュー、昨晩自分のディナー抜いてでも体温下がった俺を一晩中温めてくれた。なんだか夢の中で今までにないほど心地いい気分だった。マシューのそばこそが本来自分のいるべき場所のような気がして。
起きたか？体大丈夫か？
相性か。
変わってないな。昔からしょっちゅう体壊してた。
いや、ダメ。ペアリングになると相性なんて言うけど、相性なんて所詮占いとか勘みたいに不確かなものだろ。いくらでも自分の都合のいいように解釈できる。思い込もうとしてるだけなんだ、俺は。マシューと相性がぴったりだと。マシューと相性ぴったりだと思い込みたいの、俺。
明光。
なんだ。
食べないのか、ドーナツ。ディナー後にするか。宇城さんに皿もらったけど。
いや、いただく。ありがとう。これ抹茶だらけ。
好きだっただろ。
覚えてたのか。
あんたチョコでも大福でも全部抹茶だったから。
どうしよう、素直に嬉しい。そりゃ誰だって嬉しいだろう。こういうのを覚えてくれてたりするのって普通のことなのかな。相手のことが気になってるからとかじゃなくて。全くわからない。恋愛経験なしのツケが今になって。待て、俺忘れるな。前提として俺はもう一度振られてるし、好きになれる気がしないって言われてるんだから答え出てるだろ。全部俺が都合のいいように捉えてるだけ。相性もマシューの態度も。 なんで落ち込んでるんだ。落として振る計画が叶わなさそうだからだろう。他に何がある。このペアリングの失敗、それも前提から違う。そもそも俺はこのペアリング自体望んでなかったはずだ。マシューとの再ペアリングなんて望んでなかった。考えすぎて頭クラクラしてきた。もうやめよう、考えるの。あれ、マシュー？おはよう、右城さん。マシューは？
先ほど散歩に出られました。
寒いのによくやる。
ほんと寒さに強いですね、アムールトラは。
じゃあ今のうちに畑行ってくる。マシュには俺も散歩に出かけたって言っといて。
わかりました。
あいつに固定資産税に家計食いつぶされてる現状を知られたくないからな。畑からバレることないと思うけど念のため。あ、こらモグラ、待て。くそ、逃げられた。こんなとこも絶対あいつに見られたくない。
何してんだ。
マシュ、つけてきたのか勝手に。
つけねえよ。これか。
これ。
マダム、このタオルか。
ああ、それそれ。よかった。ありがとう、マシュ君。明光君、こんにちは。隣の井上です。
こんにちは。
ごめんね。2階に干してたタオルが飛んでこの辺りに落ちちゃって。孫の修学旅行のお土産だからどうしても見つけたくて前の歩道を探してたらマシュー君が声かけてくれてね。畑見てきてくれるって。
井上さん、マシューと知り合いなんですか
？1週間ほど前にソファーを粗大ゴミに出すのに玄関の階段を降りれなくて困っていたら通りがかった彼が声をかけてくれてね。収集場所まで運んでくれって。よくよく話聞いたらオロチさんとこでペアリングしてるって言うからまあってよかったね。こんないいお相手なかなかいないよ。
いや、まだどうなるかはわからないんですけど。
マシュー君は優しくて誠実でハンサム。明光くんも頭が良くて綺麗で楽しみね。うまくいったら教えてちょうだいね。それじゃ私はこれで。ありがとうね。
マシュ、まあそれなりにいいとこあるじゃないか。
で、あんたは何してんの？ここもお前んとこの土地なんだろ。マダムが言ってた。
別に趣味
で畑耕してんのか。
そうだ。あと節税。
節税？ああ、更地じゃ大変だわな。有効活用できないのか。この広さの畑を維持するって片手までできないだろう。
人に貸したり駐車場にして不労所得を得ることはオロチ家のご老人たちが品格がどうのこうのとかで許してくれない。代々受け継がれた土地と品格を守り続けるのがオロチ家に生まれた者の使命。片手までできないとかじゃなく、こうするほか選択肢がないんだ。金持ち家に生まれた世間知らずだとか誤解されることが多いけど、俺の 人生はそういう策に全部持っていかれて余裕なんてないんだよ、いろんな意味で。変な方に飛躍すんなよ。今回のペアリング、お前のお金目当てじゃない。本当に。
そんなこと思うわけないだろ。俺もお前のこと誤解してた部分はあったと思う。お高く止まったやつって、そんな複雑なもの背負ってるって考えてなかった。すまなかった。
なんだよ急に。いいよ、俺もお前のこと誤解してる部分もあったし、お互い様だ。
何か手伝おうか。
素人が手を出すな。井上さんがお礼に届けてくれた小株、明日右条さんが味噌汁にしてくれるって。楽しみだな。井上さんの小株美味しいんだ。
そうか。井上さんもわざわざまめな人だな。
いい人だよ。時々野菜交換し合うんだ。
ちゃんと近所付き合いしてるんだな。
当たり前だ。俺のことを何だと思ってたんだ。
いや、整った顔でツンとしてるから、そういう庶民的なの興味ないのかと思ってた。
ツンとしてない。
そう見えたんだ。すまない。
お前もそんなに人懐っこいとは思わなかった。お前から井上さんに声かけたんだろ。なんか意外と子供の頃から変わってないんだな。
あんたもな。まあでも、俺のことどえろく誘惑しようとしてくるような育ち方したのは予想外だった。
どエロくない。
乳首舐めさせてやるとか言ってたのに。
お前乗ってこなかったじゃないか。大した誘惑じゃない。
まあ確かにあれくらいじゃ。
お前になんて本気の誘惑するわけない。
一回本気出してみろよ。マジで男落とすときいつもどうしてるんだ。ほら、できるんだろ。やってみろよ。本命の相手にはどう仕掛けるんだ。
本命。好き。これは俺を試しているだけだ。マシューが本気になったと思って慌てたところで洗い出すつもりだろ。そんながっつくくらい聞いた。お前がお願いしますって言うなら何でもさせてやるけど、どうせまた言わないくせに騙されるか。俺の方が上手なんだよ。
お願いします。
は？ちょっと、嘘。いや、マシュ、ちょっと待て。
どうした？言ったらしていいってのは嘘だったのか。
クソ。もっと。
了解。
マシュ。
いいんだよ 何でもして。
マシュ、本気か？どこまでする気？
明光。
待って。ダメだ。マジダメ。待て。
なんだよ。
なんだよじゃない。とにかく待て。
なんで。ああ、そう。じゃあ今度こっち好きにするわ。何でもしていいんだろ。
こっち？
こっち。
バカ。やめろ。それはダメだ。
これができなくて何でもは成り立たないだろう。
いや。やめ。
ダメだって言う割に随分気持ちよさそうだけど。ほら、熟熟。
ダメ。マシューの前で射精するなんて。
明光。
朝。あれ？なんだっけ？俺。嘘。俺、自分だけ満足して途中で。
明光、起きたのか？大丈夫か？
マジ、昨日は。
昨日無理させて、すまない。
いや、違う。俺だけ満足して。
満足したのか？
いや、それは言葉のあやで。
今日は夜予定あるか？
いや、特に。
ディナーでも行くか？
え？どうして？
ホテルのディナー予約しようと思うんだが。
いいんじゃないか？
そうか。じゃあ、約束。指切り、わからないのか？
わからないわけない。本気で言ってるのか？
もう、場所は後でメールする。
あいつから小指を絡ませてくるとは。これって今夜ホテルで初交配しようってことか。
マシュ、大丈夫？
大丈夫。暖炉の熱でちょっとのぼせたみたい。こうして涼しい部屋にいればすぐに良くなるよ。マシュー、いい子でゆっくり寝たら元気になれるからね。
ミツくんと一緒に寝る。
ダメ、今日は別々。ミツくんは寒い部屋で寝たら体温下がっちゃうからね。暖炉のお部屋で寝るの。ミツくんが寒いのはマシューも嫌でしょ？
いや。
なら我慢しようね。
明日は？
マシューが元気になったら一緒に寝ていいよ。
本当？ミツくん、明日は一緒に寝る？いいよ。マシューが元気になったら。じゃあ、約束して。指切り玄馬、嘘ついたら針せ。
おいおい、それは。ごめん、今度意味教えとく。
会議長すぎ。2時間マナーモードにしたら連絡たまりまくりだよ。見たくない。
お前忘れずに戻しとけよ。この前半日連絡つかなかっただろ。着信気づかないで。
はいはい。それで夕飯どうするマシュー？
あれ、今日は夕食前に帰る。
おい、デート？
そんなもん。
誰と？ペアリング中じゃなかったっけ？
その相手。
仲いいね。もう結ばれた感じ？
いや、ただよくよく考えたらデートの一つもしてないと思って。
手順を踏もうって？何その高青年的な行動。かわいい。
うるさい。
お疲れ様です。お先です。
あれ、クゼさんももう上がるの？
今日飲み会なんです、夜。
じゃあ、俺ももう上がろっかな。
なんでだよ。
俺一人仕事なの、そわそわしちゃうし。こんなちゃんとしたところでの食事、久々だな。
誰か仲いい男とは行かないのか？
ああ、うちで右条さんの食事を一緒にすることはあるけど。
よく来るのか？
誰？
初日に会った猫科のでかい男。
猫か？宗弘のことか。ああ、彼。時期にもよる。
時期？
ほら、そういう体力あるやつが必要な時期。わかるだろう。夏とかたくさん実るし。
はあ、要はやりたい時ってことね。
今日は上部屋取ってるのか？
え、部屋を取る？どういうつもりだ？またからかってきてるのか？今から取る？その手に乗るか？
本気なんだな。
何が本気？
甲府さん。
クゼさん、おい、大丈夫か？
すみません。
マシュ。
うちの会社の社員だ。どうした？
風邪薬飲んでお酒飲んだら回りすぎてしまって、トイレに。
しっかりしろ。歩けるか？ 悪い明光、席外す。
ああ、こっちは気にしないでくれ。いかがされましたか？
すみません。女性スタッフの方、手をお借りすることはできませんか？トイレの前までは連れて行きますので。
かしこまりました。すぐに向かわせます。
本当にすみません。コウさん、ご迷惑を。
いいから、一人で帰れるか？一緒に飲んでた友人は？
大丈夫です。そこまで親しくないメンバーなので。だいぶ落ち着いてきたので、一人で帰れます。
いやいや。じゃあ送ってくよ、俺が。マンションの前まで。赤坂だったよな。
そんな、大丈夫です。お連れさんもいらっしゃるのに。
ここで一人で返して何かあったら、一生後悔する。ちょっと連れに話してくるから、ここで休んでろ。すぐ戻る。明光、ごめん。彼女を送ってく。
ああ、戻ってくるのか？
ああ、そうだな。食事もほとんど食べ終わったし。あんたはどっちがいい？
どっちって。
送ってまたホテル戻ってくるか、このまま解散して家帰るか。
どうせなら部屋取るけど、俺。
泊まっていくのか？
ああ、ダメか。
いや、別に。悪いな、バタバタして。
ああ、いや。
で、あんたは泊まりたいんだな。わかった。俺はタクシーで送っていくから。じゃあな。
部屋番号3601だから。明光。ああ、そうか。あいつ昨日ホテルに泊まるって言ってたな。食事の邪魔も入ったし、気分がそがれて一人で仕切り直ししたかったのかもな。埋め合わせ何にするかな。明光。 マジ？
どうした？枕変わって眠れなかったのか？疲れた顔してるぞ。
マジ？昨日は、つまり、そういうことなんだな。
あ？どういう？
こういうのは、ちゃんと言葉にしなければ後悔すると思うんだ。子供だったあの頃とは違うんだし。だから、マシューにとっては今更何よって思うかもしれないけど、聞いてほしい。少しだけ。途中で俺がとんでもない思い違いをしてるって感じたり、これ以上聞きたくないって思ったら言ってくれれば、それでこの話はもう二度と蒸し返したりしない。
何の話だ？
どうし して今回ペアリング受けたんだ。
あんたこそ。
俺はなんかそうなって、いやそうじゃなくて、マシュは俺のことで何か少しでも心に残してくれてたものがあったりするか。
心残り。過去あんな仕打ちした相手に俺に未練あったのなんてよく聞けるな。
仕打ちって、俺お前に何かしたか？
そうだな、してねえな。ペアリングってそういうもんだもんな。
マシュ？
まったくねえよ、未練なんて。あんたのこと思い出したこともねえ。
そうだよな。やっぱりこの話はやめとく。
明光、もうやっぱりうまくいかねえんだな、俺ら。ペアリング今日で切り上げたいか？遠慮しなくていい。本音で言ってくれ。
お前は今日出て行きたいと思ってるのか？
思ってねえよ。
どうして？
俺は最初からこのペアリングがどうかうまくいけばいいと本音ではずっと願ってたからだよ。
どうしてそんな。
あんたのことが好きだから以外に理由があるのか？忘れられなかった。ずっと俺のそばにいなくてもあんたはずっと俺の人生の一部だった。
俺昨日、お前は指切りの約束してる俺を置いて彼女を送っていって、仕方ないし、逆にあんな状態の彼女を無視するお前の方が幻滅しただろうけど、でもすごく自分の間の悪さにがっくりきて、それに彼女に嫉妬してしまって、自分の気持ちを偽れなくなった。お前にペアリング解消されたのはずっと引きずってた。
解消したのはあんただろ。
違う。
子供の頃のことだからあんたは覚えてないだろうが、俺はショックで大泣きしたから確かに覚えてる。
俺だって覚えてるし引きずってる。すごくショックだったんだ。
ちょっといいかな。
また来たんですか、おじさん。今はちょっと待ってくださいよ。
無粋だと思うが、君たちがその件で言い争う必要はない理由を知ってるというか。君たちの主張はどちらも事実ではない。君たちのご両親が二人の生活環境が合わないんじゃないかと言い出して、ほら、明光は寒さに弱いから常に部屋の温度は高めだろ。マシュー君の場合、逆で肌寒い環境が合う。子供の頃、マシュー君の快適な温度に合わせたら、明光が体を壊し、明光の快適な温度に合わせたら、マシュー君が体調を崩してたことがあった。覚えているかね？
ええ。
はい。だから、一緒に暮らしていくのは無理だろうと両家話し合いの上で解消になったんだ。今は二人とも大人になって体力もついて、そういう問題は起きなくなったようだがな。
でも父はマシューが解消したって。
二人とも惹かれ合っていたから、本当の理由を言っても納得しないと思ったんだろう。まあ、解消後、どちらにも相手はできず、結局また血を絶やさぬために二人をペアリングさせようという話になって、今に至るわけだが。で、指切りはまだ？
おじさんそればっかりですね。
指切りって、何の指切りですか？何のって、蛇の交尾の指切り。蛇の交尾って、指切りって言うんですか？マシュー君、 アケミスとペアリング2回もしてるんだから知ってるだろう。
嘘だろ、お前。分かってなかったのか。俺はただ、子供の頃お前とよくしてた癖で。
そうか。じゃあ約束。指切り、わからないのか？
わからないわけない。本気で言ってるのか？
あんたもしかして、昨日、そのつもりで？おじさんすみません。秋光と少し話すことがあるので。
なんだよ急に。
いいから上行くぞ。ああ、仲良くな。一応右条君と外でモーニングコーヒーでもいただいてくるよ。
そんな配慮いりません。ありがとうございます。
さて、右条君はどこかな？
まさかマシューが指切りの意味を知らなかったなんて。ややこしいことしやがって、あいつ。
ごめん、待たせた。起きたばかりだったから顔洗ったり身なり整えてきた。
俺は朝からホテルの大きいお風呂堪能してきた。一人で。
すまなかった。
わざわざ奮発していい部屋取ったからな。
本当に申し訳ない。
朝まで待った。お前が戻ってくるの。
くっそ。すまない。今からやり直しさせてくれるか？怒ってるよな。
別に。ちゃんとお前の意思を言葉で確認しなかった俺も悪い。
前の夜にあんたに煽られて我慢できなくてあんな感じになってしまったから、きちんと順序を踏もうと思ってディナー予約したんだ。でもうちの社員の件で中途半端になってしまったから。
偶発的なことだろ、あれは。
俺はお前がしらけてしまって気分転換に一人の時間を取りたいのかと思った。彼女とのことも言葉ではっきりさせておくと本当に何もない。マンションの前で別れた。明光、今回はペアリング成功ということでいいんだな？
前回も俺たちが失敗したんじゃない？
キスしても？明光、このままいいか？昨日できなかった指切り。いいな？
マジ。 マジ、待って、もう、マジ、それは、待て、やだ、ダメだ、マジ、ダメ、ぐちょぐちょになった。すごいな。やめ、言うな、そういうこと。入れるぞ。教えてくれ。こうする方がいいか。いや、ダメ。ここでいいのか、あんたのいいとこ。わからない。ダメ、そこ。わからないわけないだろ。素直に認めろ。ここだろ。本当にわからない。ダメだ、行く、それ。入れても大丈夫か？でも、ゆっくりしてくれ。激しいのは好みじゃないか。好みとかじゃなくて、俺、初めてだから、初心者用のしてくれ。初めてって何か？今してることに決まってるだろ。初日に連れ込んでた風呂上がりの猫科の男は？は？彼は畑を手伝ってくれてる子だ。泥だらけになったりしたらシャワー使ってもらったりしてる。どんな勘違いしてるんだ、バカ。マジか。マジかってなんだよ。なんだと思ってたんだよ。いや、すまない。あんたはすごく美人だし、魅力的だから、まさか。まさか何？じゃあ、
さっきいいとこわからないって言ってたのも本当だったんだな。
はあ、
すまない。とにかく優しくする。入るぞ。明光。大丈夫か？
なんとか。
少し早くするぞ。どんな感じだ？
すごい。
すごい。
こんないっぱい信じられない。体の中いっぱい。
明光。
ダメ。行くぞ。行く。マジ行く。言ったのに。ダメ。今。待って。
すまない。もう少しだけ。
ダメ。まだ来る。初心者用じゃない。
すまん。ちょっと興奮して優しくできなかったかもしれない。大丈夫か？
ギリギリ。
よかった。
よくない。ほんとギリギリだぞ。
明光、愛してる。
俺も。
あんた本当初めてなんだな。
なんだよ、何回も言うな。何ニヤニヤしてるんだよ。どういう意味でのニヤニヤだよ。
いい意味でのニヤニヤだ。
なんだよそれ。
今いろいろ噛みしめてるんだ。しばらく許してくれ。
おい、くどいぞ。
ペアリングうまくいったって親に電話してきた。
お母様、何かおっしゃってたか？
だと思ったって。そう思うなら初めから勝手に婚約解消すんじゃねえよ。あんたの方は
さんから親戚連中にペアリング成功した話届いてるみたいで、仕事もしばらく休みもらった。
俺も休む。
いいのか？
自由でいられるために自分で事業を起こしてる。明光、まあ早く一緒に住もう。この家でもどこでもどんな家具でもあんたの希望通りにするから。
なんだよ、急に素直に。
今まで好かれてないとか遊ばれてるとか思ってたから惹かれそうで本音が言えなかった。あんたにさらに嫌われるのが怖かったんだ。
さらにって、初めから嫌ってない。
ペアリング解消されたと伝えられてたんだから嫌われたと思うだろう。
ほら、ちょっと。
明光、家に俺や右条さんがいないときは他の男を家に入れないでほしい。ダメか？あんたのこと信じてないんじゃなくて相手の男があんたに何するかわからん。
何するかわからないようなやつ、まず入れない。
わからないだろなあ。ダメか？
こんな子供っぽい性格だったのか。ペアリング当初も俺に振られたと思い込んで拗ねてただけなんだな。子供の頃から全然変わってない。マシュ、両一族への顔合わせうまくいくといいな。
うまくいかなくても結婚はするぞ。もう俺らの意思以外に邪魔されるのは嫌だ。それで俺の希望はどうしてくれるのか？
しょうがないからお前のお願い聞いてやることにしよう。好きだよマシュ。
明光、俺もずっとあんただけだ。あれ、マシューもう帰るのか？ああ、ペアリングうまくいったって言ったろ。じゃあな。待て待て。どう？ヘビエロいってマジだった？お前な、教えるわけないだろ。ねえ、いいだろう、少しぐらい。エロいなんてもんじゃない。つかヘビどうこうなんて次元じゃないだろ、あれは。体どうだ？
どうって？
一日置いたけど辛いとことかあるか？
それはできるかどうかってこと？
いや別に、とりあえず確認しとこうと思って。
大丈夫。
勘弁してくれ。小指絡ませながらこの色気で俺が初めての相手だなんて信じられるか？たまらんだろう。明光、明 光。
マジ
向こう向いて。手冷たくないか？明光、好きだ。
マジマジくすぐったいって、それもうやめ。
なんだよ。
そんなとこくすぐったいんだって。おい、肩を噛むな。
甘噛みだろ。じゃあこっちに戻るか？
いや、強い。
ほら、足上げろ。
待って、マジ俺初心者だから余裕ないんだって。
俺だって余裕ねえよ。あんたと同じだから安心しろ。
マジ
声我慢すんなよ。1回目はもっと大騒ぎしてただろ。
うるさい。ダメ。待て。
どう？
やだ。それ、
どうして？
そんなことするのありえない。
ありえないって何？
こんな受け止めきれないほどの恥ずかしい感覚、絶対人がやっちゃダメなことだって。
あんたマジエロすぎだな。
お前がだろ。
やばいな、ほんと。
お前話聞いてたか？やめ。やだ。やだ。ダメ。嘘。もう本当に。ダメ。行く。ちょっと。マジ。いや、しつこい。マジ。 やめ、いや、ダメ、やだ、まだ、信じしてもおかしいのに。
大丈夫か？
もう全然大丈夫なわけない。
俺も限界だ。表向けるか？
向けるけど。何見てるんだよ。限界なんじゃないのか？
いや、すまない。思わず釘付けに。
は？
真面目にする。入れるぞ。いきなり直撃だわ。お腹の方、ここ、いきなり行く。
無理。
嘘だって。ごめん。さすがにそんな鬼畜なことしない。
いきなりしないって。
だってそこつくと分かりやすく締まるからさ。ついついこうやって締まる。
いや、
締めてる。エルは
いや、
本格的についていい。
本格的。
まだ本格的っていうのはこういうのを言うんだろう。
いや、待って。ダメ、そんなの。
大丈夫だって。気持ちよくなるだけ。
からはい行きそう何その力入った射精漏れちゃいそうなの我慢してるんだろいいのに吹いちゃって嫌だって言ってもこのまま続けたら次絶対吹いちゃうな。どうせ吹いちゃうんだから諦めろ。ダメ我慢してもここつけば一発だろ。そこダメ歯食いしばるな。明大丈夫か。明光マシュもう無理。一回休憩な。もういやもう無理だって。何もしてないだろう。ダメ抜いて。いやダメ。マジで何もしてないって。抜いてくれないと勝手に。また救急だって。やだ行く。行っちゃ行く。マジ。あそこキュンキュンして止まらない。どうしよう。これ絶対ヘビだからエロいんじゃなくて明光自身が無自覚にエロすぎるだけだ。いやまた来てる。
限を超えてる。明光、限度がある。勘弁してくれ。俺が絞り取られる。
どうも皆さん、ドラマ CD ペリグリを聞いていただきありがとうございます。改めまして、オロチ明光役の寺島俊太です。
はい、古風マシュを演じました浅上洋平です。
はい、ということで、お疲れ様でした。
お疲れ様でした。
まさに、今ね、何日かに分けての収録が。
いやー、そうなんですよ。分けるぐらい、やっぱり、この作品すごい、ね、濃いというか、
ね、大ボリュームでしたね。
熱いから、その2回に、言ってしまえば2回に分けて撮ったんですけど、その、割と期間がね、空いちゃったんですよね。
そうですね。で、僕たち以外にもですね、すごく個性豊かなキャラクターと、そしてそんな個性豊かなキャラクターを演じる個性豊かな声優さん
そうですね。本当にありがたかったです。なんか僕ら2人で、1回目は2人だけのシーンをメインに撮って、で、その後に、今日なんですけれども、他のサブのキャラクターだったりと掛け合いみたいなのを撮って、全然雰囲気が違いましたね。
なんかよりこう、我々が演じさせていただいてるキャラクターのなんかそのいろんな面も引き出されるというかね。
そうですね。
特におじさん
おじがね、おじの個性が
爆発してましたね。
いやー、村井さんすごいですね。なんかいろいろとある声優さんの声のなんかこういろいろな要素が混じっているよみたいな話にも出てましたけど、本当に渋いだけじゃなくて面白いなっていうのがあって、すごいなんかこの作品でも本当に悪い人が一人もいないというか、みんないい人っていうか、
個性豊かだし、あとなんかこうやりとりがこうコミカルとシュールの狭間というか、
そうですね。
なんかこのメリハリがあって面白いですよね。
静かにこう進んでいくかと思いきや、急におじさんが出てきたりとか、なんか面白いキャラクターも挟みつつ、でも二人はずっとお互い勘違いしたままだったっていう、かわいいオチというか、
すれ違いコントみたいな。ね
え、コント。
その、本当にすれ違うコント。
そうそう、ほっこり、すれ違いコントをずっとやってくるんですけど、でも本人たちにとってはもう真剣な話なんで、
そうですよね。
ちょっとその辺はいがみ合ったところから始まり、でもやっぱりその勘違いが解ける前から、こうまたお互いこう寄り添っていくっていう、この作品のなんか良さみたいな、温かさみたいなのが出てて、すごい良かったなって
楽しかったですね、やっててね。
じゃあもう一人ずつ、最後にこの船も
やりますか。
話しますか。はい。改めまして、古風マシュを演じました浅上です。本当になんか二人の勘違いっていうのがここまで大人になってまで発展して、で、やっぱお互いずっとそのことはなんとなくこの心のね、端の方で引っかかってて、で引っかかったものって大人になればなるにつれどんどん大きくなるっていうか、だそういうものってやっぱり結構我々のね年になってもあるなってこともありますし、そういうのをこう考えながら演じるっていうのはなんかリアリティがあって、面白かったなっていうふうに思いますね。でも本当に可愛いすれ違いなんですよね。なんか本当にこの二人が可愛くて愛しくて、最後ちゃんとこうハッピーエンドになれたっていうのはすごく演じてて、僕も良かったなっていうふうに思いますし、ぜひねこの先のね二人が本当に、イチャイチャする時の回みたいなのもね見てみたいですし、それはもうぜひ皆さんのね応援が必要なので、原作も、ドラマ CD の方も何度も聞いていただいてね、こんな作品あるよなんてね、友人とかに、おすすめしていただけたら嬉しいでございます。はい、ありがとうございました。
はい。では僕の方からも、改めまして、秋光を演じさせていただいた寺島俊太です。本当に独特な空気感がずっとこう原作の中には流れていて、普通に演じるとその大事な原作の独特なコミカルなシュールな雰囲気とか、そういうのがなかなかこう表現できないかなと思って、結構いろいろオーバーにリアクションするところはオーバーにリアク クションしたりとか、あと逆にさらっとボソッと、突っ込んだりとか、なんかそういったいろんなメリハリが、できる、全体的なドラマ CD になってるのかなと思って、すごくやってて楽しかったですし、あとやっぱり僕もその、どんどんこの2人が可愛くなってきてもう31歳なんですけど、明光くんはでも恋愛経験がなしっていうところで、もう本当に途中でマシューのことをなんだあいつ思春期かって言ってるんだけど、いやお前やん
2人ともそうなんですよね。
あなたもですよっていう、それも自分もその思春期真っ只中みたいな状態にいるってことにもあんまりこう自覚がないぐらい、こうすごく可愛い
ピュアですね。
ピュアなそのね精神状態っていうのがすごく可愛くて、やっててもすごく楽しかったです。はい。まあやっぱり本当にこの後もね、きっと2人はいっぱいこう財閥とかいろいろ家柄のいろんなことに巻き込まれていくと思うので、まあそういう荒波を2人で乗り越えていったりとか、そういうことに直面する2人も見てみたいのでね、ぜひ皆さん原作と合わせて応援していただけるとありがたいです。はい、ということで、ここまでお聞きいただきありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
was German and this was English and this was weird. This was English and this was German. And then every time I have to form a sentence, I'm like, okay, was this German? Was this English? Or was this weird? Like, you know, it's so hard because it's not its own language in my brain, if that makes sense. What did I major in? I didn't finish my studies because, like, I don't know if I've told you before, but I sort of fled the country from my family situation. So I have 6 semesters. Yeah, and that's it. No, 5 actually. Yeah, true. Because I didn't get the 6th, and I have the 7th secured, but I studied game engineering. Maybe need to see if there's some like Indonesian friends you can find in the Netherlands, Asma. You can speak Indonesian with. It can be really, really nice to have people to speak in your comfort language in. I didn't even know that like Dutch is so similar to Swedish. No pineapple on pizza. Like if you eat that, you can eat the entire pizza. Don't ask if I want a slice. Don't. I don't like the idea of pineapple. Like warm pineapple is already a stretch, but warm pineapple with so weird, right? So what I honestly what I sort of like found out for myself, at least, is wait, is the stream gone? Wait. For me, it looks like it's going. No. Okay, so everybody's here. Everything good. Okay. So the thing I sort of like came to understand, and this is like my personal opinion, is in so many communications, it actually is low key not even bad to disregard what the person is saying and only look at what they're showing, what type of emotions they're showing. because we have so many coping mechanisms which essentially influence what we're saying and influence the logic which is going on in our heads. So I don't mean to like absolutely dismiss somebody and then just overrule what they're saying, like absolutely not. But how this helped me is because sometimes it's like really confusing to talk to a person because their gesture and mimic and just their how they present themselves, or like what their body is saying essentially and what their face is saying, is something else than the words they were saying, right? And we know that, for example, like with emotions, it's like it's way easier to like change what you say than change what you show. Even though, of course, like the more time you get, you can also like change what you show, and there's also like a bunch of conflicting emotions in a lot of moments. But like people will, for example, with like overcompensation. So overcompensation was explained in a book I was reading, like it's the breaking negative thinking patterns. And overcompensation is essentially a coping mechanism where instead of like I'm just gonna pick an example. Like somebody does something, you get triggered, and technically you feel scared. But how you present to the outside and how you react is angry and intimidating. And this is essentially overcompensation because you don't want to, like, in order to not seem like a victim and not become a victim, you choose to behave like you're really, really intimidating and really scary instead. Because you essentially came to the conclusion that this is the best way you can save yourself and protect yourself. So instead of like crying because something hurt you, you might, for example, become offensive, or become like really intimidating, or low-key mean and whatever. Like it can be like really anything. It can also be overcompensation, for example, if you behave like it didn't hurt you at all and become really cold, sort of like nobody can touch me in that regard. And that's going to change entirely how you like what you say. And it's also changing your emotions, but usually we can actually see this like first moment where people are hurt. And then we like when we look at the emotions, because the emotions are suddenly sort of so different than before, it's sort of easy to spot like, okay, this person like must be overcompensating because it was like a switch like this. Like there's something going on for sure. And I feel like in those moments, it's so much easier to just address the emotions of the person instead of addressing what they say. Because especially I feel like nowadays, we've gotten so used to, or it's like so commonly used to bring forward logical reasons for something. So for example, to argue that you shouldn't say something like this because like everybody knows it's like hurtful and stuff like this. Like we sort of like, instead of saying like this thing hurt me personally, we're always trying to make it like an official case where like nobody can like argue against us, because like we like officially we're right here, so that person needs to see us. Like this is the law of society essentially, and like what they did is just wrong, and they need to see it that what they did is just wrong. And the thing is though, it sounds like really smart, right? In the beginning. Because it seems like, okay, like you're scared that the other person is not going to see your feelings because they have, well, sort of like overstepped a boundary. So you sort of made the logical conclusion that like they don't see your feelings. So now you try to find a logical argumentation how you can like make them understand you, already sort of expecting that they don't want to. And because of that, you have like so many arguments which are supporting your case. And you make it a case which is not about you, but about the general society, because you're insecure about it. And the thing it does, though, is that it makes it a intellectual argumentation, right? So if you make something like personal which hurt you, a discussion which is based on general facts and ideas, you can discuss about this, right? So for example, what is right or wrong in a society, like what is right to say or what is polite to say or what is not polite to say, is something where people will have different opinions on. And so now, because you made this a sort of logical, general, objective discussion, there's probably gonna be a discussion starting. Like there's gonna be arguments, pro and con, and stuff like this. And this can be so hard for a person because they're like, in that moment, they're trying to get their emotions to be seen. But because they're putting forward this logical argument, it's the person interacts with what they're saying. And what they're saying is this discussion whether or not something is polite or wrong or right to say or nice to say or mean to say or whatever. And especially if something like some person like told you something which you felt like was insulting and you felt insulted by and hurt by, if they didn't mean to insult you in that moment, they will definitely argue against your case that what they said is generally insulting and that they were objectively wanting to insult you. So they instantly gonna argue against you. So in that moment, you will disconnect from the person instead of connecting to the person. And now coming back to my point is concentrating on feelings instead of sort of like logic and like just words, is if we would present our feelings instead, there's essentially not really something to argue about, right? So if we tell somebody like, I don't know, like, oh, that hurt me, like that's a fact, right? Like they can't really say like, no, it didn't. Like this is not really something which makes sense, right? Like they can tell you you're a snowflake and then you're double hurt maybe. And then they just like, well, that's a different story, right? But they can't take away from their reality that you were hurt by this. And at the same time, it's not really putting the blame on anybody in that moment, because you're not saying that this statement was like, it was stupid of them to make that, or that it would like that they wanted to insult you or something like this, you know? Like you're not making a statement about how good or bad the other person is. You're just making a statement of the result. And if you combine the statement about the result with the thing you need from them, so for example, just being like, wow, like that like I was hurt by this like so much, and or like, wow, you just say like this is actually like I'm so insecure about this, like that actually like really hurt me, like did you like mean like, you know, like do you not think I can do this or something, you know? And then like question back, or if you say something like uh, like you don't need to explain it like in detail, like honestly you could probably just be like, wow, and like show your emotions, and then just be say something like, but you still like me, right? Like you do like me as your friend, right? Or something like this. Like you instantly like tell them what you need from them, and you tell them how they can reconnect with you. So in that moment, you make it like really easy for the other person to connect with. And it's essentially just letting your emotions talk for you, if that makes sense. And putting less logic between, yeah, between what is happening inside yourself, which like on an emotional basis is like not, it's like not entire, like it's just, you know, it's just feeling. And they come from somewhere for sure. Like there's logic to feeling. So for example, if something hurt us, there's, for example, oftentimes like a sort of like a reason why that hurt us, right? So I might be like really touchy on some subjects where I had like similar experiences with my dad or something. And that's just, yeah, it's like really normal. And it's way easier if we don't try to make it like a logical case where we put like so many words forward and say so many things. But if we make it simple. And because this is so hard, actually, I feel like it's so nice to, or it can be so helpful to focus on how the person feels and which emotions the person shows instead of what they're saying. Like also take it into account what they're saying, right? But it can be so unhelpful to like get offended or like be pulled into this like logical argumentation if something is like right or wrong. It can be so much easier to just answer to their feelings. So if they go on about like how something you said is like generally and officially insulting or something like that, you know, you don't need to argue that case. It's not really helpful anyway, right? Like especially when you think yourself like this is something which is like fine for everybody else, but you're getting upset about this now. Like I'm not going to be on the same side in this argumentation from you, but I'm sorry that it hurt you. You know, like I don't think I need to change my ways in a way of like I can't say this again to everybody, anybody or something. But I'm just gonna keep in mind that I'm not gonna say this again to you. And yeah, then we can just say like, oh, like I didn't mean to offend. Like I'm really sorry. I honestly I just say this to my friends and it's like a fun, you know, like back and forth and you know, yeah. I'm sorry, like you can't know, right? Like you don't know me enough for that yet. So understand, my bad. So sorry, true, but we're not actually like rating songs here on stream. If you do want my opinion to a song, you can have it off stream, so you can just send your song in Discord, and uh, then I would listen to it off stream. But we don't do that live because we're focused on like mental health here. So and now I'm gonna go through all of your messages because I've been ignoring everybody. So let me catch up. It's just all memes of people crying while trying to pronounce Swedish sentences. I never thought of warm pineapples before. Yeah, I don't like it either. But it could, I guess, warm pineapples on like a sweet dish, like with ice cream, for example. Like maybe that could be nice, but it wouldn't be my first pick. How'd you get into psychology? Because of therapy, or you're just a healthy person who can help? I was always obsessed with understanding bigger systems, I guess, if that makes sense, and society and other humans. And this was, of course, not entirely just because of, oh, this is interesting, but this was definitely also because it helps you in society, right? So because I'm like more on the like neurodivergent side, how like humans work and function was like so weird for me a lot of the time. And I just wanted to understand why. Like, why do they behave like this? Like, why do they say one thing and then do another thing? Like, this doesn't make sense. And then at the same time, honestly, also understanding myself. Like, why do I say one thing and do another thing? This doesn't make sense. So I guess this is how it started. And then I was still like in the beginning, I was still like studying IT because I just thought like I'm not gonna get into any psychology university, like this gonna like take so long. At the end, like probably I could have done it because a friend of mine actually got into it with like a similar sort of uh like similar grades, but I just thought like, oh, this is like a medicine thing, like I need to have like such good grades, and I only have like a 2 point something. like a 2.2 or something I had. So I thought like I'm not gonna even bother, like way too much effort. Also, like back in the day, it was like really interesting, but at the same time, I could have never had the capacity to care for others because I was mentally in like a really difficult situation, right, with my like dad and mom and everything. So I didn't have the capacity to care for anybody really. So it didn't really come to my mind. But then when I went through, then when I got better, like I moved out, then I moved to the Netherlands, and then I did therapy, right? And with the time, just because I got like mentally like stable, I saw that like now I have the capacity to do that, and it's actually something I really like doing because I really like supporting the people around me. Like I like to see someone progress and be better than before and fulfill their potential. Like I like to see people succeeding, if that makes sense. Like I really like to be a teacher. So that was the only thing I ever did in school already where I already knew like, oh, I'm good at this and I really like it. It was like I was like teaching a girl like physics and maths. And within like half a year, she went up 2 grades. So I was like, damn, like I'm really good at this actually. And I really like it as well. Like it was so amazing to see how she changed and how she turned self-sufficient with this. Like we literally like we didn't need any more classes after half a year because I was able to tell her how she can teach herself physics and maths. Like I was able to make her understand how she understands physics and maths. So I understood how she's not understanding it. And then I thought like, okay, how does she need to go about this to understand it? And then I told her that skill, and then she was able to just do it herself, and it was so nice to see. And I always really loved my sisters, right? And like try to do the same thing for them, sort of. Even though honestly, my sisters they never wanted help from me. Like I think with my sisters it was like a difficult situation because they saw how tough I had it with like my dad and my mom and stuff. So I think my sisters are still scared to like burden me with anything because I don't know. Yeah, yeah, I think they just don't want to burden me. Like they want me to be happy, and yeah. But yeah, this is why I really like psychology, and I really like helping people because honestly, I just believe in humanity. Like it's like I know like some people of you are gonna be like, oh, that's like so so naive and something, but I honestly think there's a good person in anybody of us. Um, and even the people who end up in jail, there's just a bunch of things which went wrong. Like I feel like it's so easy to demonize people sometimes and treat people who got in jail as like a different species. Like they were just born bad people, treat them like this. But I don't think it's like I've never seen an evil child. You know what I mean? What I mean? Like I've never seen a murder newborn. Like it's really something where like because of how life turns out, we end up there. And it's not by means like any like excuse of like, oh, they can't do anything for their behavior. Like, no. But it's just a thing of like we don't properly understand humans yet, or humanity, or society really. There's so many things we don't know, and there's so many things which can go wrong. And there's always a connection. Like if you know enough about a person, there's always a connection. Like you can always understand how they ended up at that point. Even if you yourself wouldn't have made these choices and wouldn't have ended up there because of them, because not making these choices. It's still a thing where you can understand why. Like it's the same part of like why are addicts addicted, right? Like I feel like when you know enough about them, you can understand why. And I honestly think that's something really beautiful. And something that, even though it makes it a really interesting topic, because everybody has their own story, it's something which gives safety. Because no matter who I talk to, if there is space enough to talk about anything, I will be able to connect to them and relate with them. And yeah. Did I just get shrunk? Next level reflection. Did I learn this from a book or just deep thinking? I think from all of it together. Like, I don't think there's one book which can give you the answers to life. But yeah, I always think in these like 5-head systems, if that makes sense. And yeah, sometimes it's a curse because it's probably also the reason why I get headaches sometimes, because I just overthink stuff. At the same time, it gives me a lot of like knowledge and insight, right? Because I overthink stuff. So yeah. But this is essentially why I think I'm good doing this, if that makes sense. And I think there's a quality I have which like some people maybe not. So in a way, I think that makes me unique and gives me a unique possibility to help. And hi G4s, welcome, welcome. Long time no see, buddy. How you doing? And for me, it's how am I doing? I'm honestly just chilling today. I'm resting. I had like a really busy weekend. I just did like so many things. And then yesterday with tennis, I completely overexcited myself. So yeah, today it's just tea and chilling. Yeah. Sending iMessages. Yeah. But it's not just iMessages, right? Because I feel like this iMessage thing, like we've heard that so often, right? But it's a if we just explain it like, oh, you just need to make iMessages, like I feel I understand, and so on. Like if we make it that simple, I do think there is a high possibility that we're missing the point. Because you can still feel like I feel like you insulted me, right? And then it's not really better than before. So it's really about understanding this difference between if like just because I feel hurt doesn't mean somebody was like trying to hurt me. Like a lot of the time it's collateral damage. A lot of the time it's situational. Oh, Jenny. Your waffles are going so bad. Oh no. I trust you guys. Raka and Ellie that you were only saying nice in Swedish. I really believe in helping people too. I once watched a documentary about a pedophile, and before then I literally saw them as something horrible. But that was the first time I saw it as they are still worthy of being a part of society. Yeah, there's like it's a thing where like it's a really hard topic, right, in society. Because obviously there's a lot of people who's like who really who suffered under criminals, right? So there's a lot of people who don't have compassion for them, and that's absolutely understandable, right? But yeah, at the same time, we need to make a system for everybody, right? And I don't mean to like, oh, just let them do their thing, but we need to understand where we can intervene, while like if we lead with this premise of they started as a human just like us, we understand that I ended up here, you ended up there, and there must be a point to why. And I'm not gonna rely on that point being like, oh, I'm just a better human than you are, but I'm gonna ask questions, find out where that point was. Was that point where, I don't know, you were bullied in school and there was no way to get out? Because even your parents bullied you and there was no safe system for you to get out of that situation and no support system? Or was that maybe because I don't know, like you started stealing because you were financially in a situation where you literally didn't have another choice, and then later on you got financially in a better situation, but it was like a learned coping mechanism, and then it was like essentially like too easy to keep maintaining it. Like, where would have been the point we could have as society intervened to change the course of that person to then later on not hurt society? Meine aesthetic, those are no bueno, yeah. I'm lying in bed watching Twitch. So many things I like to do, but I'm exhausted again. Aw. I feel you. Do you know what type of exhausted you are, GeForce? About this, when do you think it's better to listen, better to help out? Like, how can you tell if a person is telling things for you to give an ear, or to actually engage and help out, or say something logical, empathetic, etc.? I think honestly, you can always just ask, by the way. Like, you can always ask. Like, you can say how you're confused, like you want to help them, but you don't know what they need right now. Like, do they just want you to listen? Or do they actually like want a hug and like a plan how to get better or something? You know, like you can always ask. And they will, like, if you lead with, hey, I want to support you, and I'm just, you know, I just want to check that I don't do anything wrong, like nobody's gonna be mad, I think. But you shouldn't give suggestions, if that makes sense. That's like the only thing. Make suggestions what you can offer. If you have to ask because the other person is not telling you, make suggestions what you can offer. Like, make it because the other person, like, so let me put it like this. If somebody is in the height of their emotions, it's really hard sometimes to be there for oneself. That's why we then are more likely to reach out to the people around us, right? Because we need help. And it's just a situation where, like, because we're in the height of emotions, we might not know what we actually want or need. But we might be frustrated that the person we came to help us doesn't know either. So it can help to just put suggestions forward, because making decisions in that moment can be really hard because we're so up in our emotions. But if it's a this or that decision, that's a way easier decision to, if you make it an open-end question. Like, if you ask, for example, oh, how can I help you? That's a very open-end question. Like, a lot of people might have good answers to that. So I think I would, in most situations, be able to have a good answer to that. In some situations, I don't fucking know. And I don't have the capacity to think about that. And now that you have given me these questions, I'm more overwhelmed than before. So then I would react frustrated, because in the beginning I would react like, okay, let me think, and then I would notice how I'm getting more overwhelmed, and then I would be frustrated because I'm more overwhelmed and because I'm like less able to deal with the emotions than before. So it's easier to put a suggestion forward, or to softly try things. Like, you can always just be like, you know, and sort of ask like this, if that makes sense. Or just give that other person like go in for the hug and see how they react. Like if they like you go in for the hug and they react like this, like pull back or turn like super stiff, you might not like you just like retract again and say like, oh sorry, like is there something else I can do for you? I just really want you to feel better. But if you like reach out and they like instantly take it, you just hug them until they let go. If they let go, you let go. The question was, do you know in what way exhausted you are, GeForce? Like sort of like physical exhaustion or mentally or... I should pet the mic. Are you sure about this, guys? Like, this is gonna sound horrible, I think. Oh, noise gate is actually cutting it out. If I talk and do this, then you might be able to hear. Hi, Annalise. Welcome. Yeah. Like, this is exactly like, this would be the other way around, right? Like, when we approach somebody, if we know what we need from them, it's so much easier to get our needs fulfilled if we just articulate it. It's really so much easier. It's like, for example, like I think this is also how like so many conversations about heavy topics go wrong with friends sometimes. So for example, like topics like depression or suicidal ideations and stuff like this, because we don't really tell them what we need from them. And especially when we then go on and on about how bad everything looks to us, if they don't have anything to do or help us, it's going to be a really tough situation for them, right? Because they essentially see a person they like in front of them fall apart, but they don't know what to do. They don't know how to help. So, for example, like if we have depression, it's like it can be really, really nice to just learn to set the expectation before you talk to somebody of like, hey, you don't need to fix me or something. I just need to vent how everything is shit right now and exhausting. Or I just I just need to like some positive words or something. And like, or like, can you check my perspective if it's really that bad and stuff. So yeah. And it's especially important when we talk about, for example, suicidal ideation, that we take away the responsibility of that they could say something like that they need to fix it away from them. Because regular people are not trained for that, right? Like regular people are really just like don't. Like some people can deal with that for sure, but there's a bunch of people who can't, especially if it's a person they like and love. And they're gonna be like super stressed out when they feel like they have the responsibility to save our life in that moment. Because if they were to say something wrong, you would like leave and then, you know. So that makes these situations so hard. And yeah, it's like so much easier if you literally just if you, for example, just see like I need somebody to see my perspective, and can you just listen to me and understand what I'm going through? You don't need to fix it, and it's probably, you know, like I'm just gonna calm down afterwards, and then like everything is gonna be good again. but I just need somebody to understand the pain I'm going through. Because that's really sometimes the only thing we need. We don't need them to fix the pain. We don't need them to get it out. We don't need them to check our perspective of like if that really is like a normal amount of pain or whatever, or if we see everything too, too pessimistic right now. Sometimes we just need one person to understand the pain we're going through. I see, GeForce. Ah, I hope you can find some good rest and then maybe later find some energy again to get the things done you want to do. But yeah. This mug? Yeah, right. I really like it. My favorite one. I actually would like to get myself another tea. So I will be gone for like a couple minutes. You've surrounded yourself in cuteness. Yeah. GeForce actually that gives me an idea. Would you mind making like sharing an introduction of yourself in our introductions channel in the Discord? Sort of saying this because I think this can be actually like really comforting to know for people, right? That somebody who went through so much for 19 years is still there, still fighting. Also, Asta, like really everybody here. Blackberry, welcome, welcome. Not a single stream with the mug being complimented? I think not a single stream without the mug being complimented now. I don't know anymore. Welcome, welcome. How you doing? How you doing, Blackberry? So I'm gonna start making a tea for myself, and then I would actually like to get into the mental health check in. Oh my god. Of like, or we just get into how you guys been doing for the last week or something. So you all can really think of that. But let me do Yeah, a bit too full. But it's fine. Just about fine. Thank you, guys. I think I figured out something about the whole trafficking ring thing I'm not supposed to know about, and now I'm afraid. I think I just want a safe space to decompress so I can sleep. I'm testing an ADHD pattern recognition and connecting the system for me, and with all the file releases, of course, I was curious. I see. So what do you need to decompress? Hmm. All right. Oh, get well soon, Esther. Thank you for the lurk. Eating cereal. But yeah, I think you should probably be fine now. Like if you only know it for yourself, like nobody can know that you know something you shouldn't, right? So you shouldn't be in trouble. What do I play in League? That's a very off-topic question. I really like to play Lux and Soraka. Yeah, just chilling. But we're focusing on mental health right now. I hope so. Is there anything you can do for yourself to feel safer? Hmm. I see. So it's a bit also this fear of I know something which could be actually important, and now I have this decision of having to do something with it. Hmm. I see. I see. Hmm. I mean, maybe you can. I mean, it always depends on the country you live in. But you could always go full, I don't know, full on paranoia mode and sort of suit up that nobody can see who you are, and then go to an internet cafe. Yeah. And send set up a new email account. And then send an email with the evidence to some sort of news outlet. You think they would cover that. And then never go there again and never open the email again. And see if they do anything with it. And I mean, that's the full-on paranoia mode, right? But it's I do understand that. And it might actually, it might be a funny experience as well. To just see how the people are looking at you if you come in there all hooded up and everything. And I think the other thing, I mean, the other thing would just be like to go talk to people from a news outlet, right? Like just in person. But yeah, like you can, you can also like make a new Reddit account, but it's on Reddit. That's also a thing. But it's definitely like with these things, like there is like sort of with, I don't know how advanced the surveillance is. Like we never know, right? Because we're not involved in that sort of sector. But America definitely has the rights to have a bunch of surveillance. And I don't know, I mean, depending on your information, right? I don't know how crazy information it is. So it might be worth to go full paranoia mode. Depending on your opinion. I don't know, I just saw it in the background, sorry. It's fine. It's just we're like super focused on like mental health right now, so it was like just super random. I still play League of Legends as well. Sometimes on stream, a lot of the time off stream. I don't trust my own government with the info. I'm American. I honestly like knowing knowing the government. I wouldn't send it to the government. I would send it to news outlets. I would send it to news outlets who have already covered this case and are continuing to cover it. I think they probably have the biggest chance. And then also like putting it on Reddit, honestly, seems also like a really good idea. No. Thank you for the follow and welcome. How you doing? No, don't worry, Blackberry. I mean, this is really like what the stream is for, right? I mean, maybe like not like these specific cases, but like just for mental health struggles in general. And I get it that a situation like this, like even though like, of course, like we can think about the case of you just like coming on here and like not even knowing shit like all day long. But if everything you say is true and I'm just gonna choose to believe you, it's you know, like it could like it can very well be really scary. And honestly, like rather take like precautions to a ridiculous level than regret it in the aftermath, right? And like there are certain things where like we don't want to get into that because for example if we like have anxiety to a point where we like don't go outside anymore, then it's restricting our life actually. But if it's like this like one-time situation where you like fully suit up and go like Paranoia 3000, it's probably a fun story. And at the same time, it's not really taking away from your life in the big picture. And then it might just be good. I mean, also it's like better like if you sort of like it's always about choices, right? Like mental health and life, it's always about choices. So it really depends on which choice do you want to make. Like if you were to just in person meet with some reporter and or just like on your normal social accounts like put that like on Reddit or whatever, would you from that point on be then paranoid that something is happening to you? Because if so, that's a big consequence, right? And then it might just be more useful to go full on Paranoia 3000 once and at least then be like, okay, now I don't need to worry, I did everything and I'm gonna be good. Nobody knows, you know. You can't find your Discord in your list. The name is 𝔹𝕃ℂ𝔻. And the avatar of the Discord is the Poro. It's actually this emote here. It's not a sheep, Ali. It's a Poro. Turns out Epstein's network was operating on Reddit as well. I'll stick to news outlets. I mean, you can just do both, right? Like, just because it's also operating on Reddit doesn't mean it's controlling Reddit entirely, right? So, I don't know, maybe it's just like better to do both, but I'm not like entirely informed about that. It's always, I think, also just up to chance of how it goes. Like, it could be a thing that with Reddit, this story like blows up to the point that like even if people wanted to delete it, they couldn't because everybody's reposting it and stuff like this, right? So. Oh my god, Senko. That's it's the first time I heard that one. See you on Thursday, Fluffy. It's sad that you can't stay longer. But let's see you on Thursday. And I hope you have a good day. Do you have like all exams finished now, or are you like heading to the next exam, by the way? Like, poros are not sheep. Poros are very sheep-like, like tiny fluffy sheep. But they're clearly not sheep. Whatever helps faster. Well, this is not necessarily, right? Like, it's really like a big picture decision here. So I think like the easiest thing, right, would be to post it from your like normal like socials. But yeah, if that's like in the long run like a really bad idea, definitely like maybe it's worth investing in crazy banana paranoia for a moment. Oh, on the way to work? Oh, I see. Exams are your last in March. Oh, okay, so you still have a bunch to go. All right. Then have fun at work. And see you on Thursday. Thank you for having been here. Blackberry, my friends call me Berry. To meet you in your community. I'm glad. It's really nice talking to you. It's actually, I think it's really interesting. So, to talk about like how to handle paranoia, if that makes sense, like how to handle that sort of situation, because it's a situation which is like I don't think anybody is like, it's not really common, right? But I think it's honestly a really interesting question of like how to handle that best for your mental health, because it's such a rare situation. But it's definitely, I think it makes the most sense to think about the long-term consequences. And I don't know, like pushing yourself to just like publish it like with your person being involved or something, it's just not useful, right? If that's if the long-term consequence of that is that you always like look back or have to get over like serious paranoia. Like in that regard, it might just be better to go full on crazy cuckoo beans for a second and then be able to feel safe. I have a regular therapist I go to. I don't experience psychosis, paranoia, or any unreasonable thoughts of compulsion. Or communication, I had 97k. That's last year. Oh, damn. I also, like, I didn't mean to say that, right? I think, like, it's honestly, like, it depends on, like, how, like, I call it paranoia. I'm not saying it's unreasonable, right? So, just putting that out there. Like, I didn't mean to imply it's unreasonable. Like, I don't know. Like, we don't, like, there is some people who are, like whistleblowers who then died for weird reasons, right? So, it's it always seems like this like easy decision to be like, oh, that's just paranoid, and like our government is so much better. But for some people, it isn't. For some people, it really isn't. Right? And you never know until it's too late. So. What's a real world recommendation to get rid of my phone social media addiction? Being able to replace the new time with more productivity without relapse moments. Mm. I think it's a really good question, right? It's also a question where there's a lot of individual preference which influences the answer a lot, right? So for example, for me, when like back when I was like using like Instagram like a lot, I honestly at some point just came to the conclusion like this is wasting my time. And then I put like all like ways of like screen time stuff on my on all of these social medias and my phone. So like my phone is giving me a reminder after 10 minutes, and like the social medias are also giving me a reminder after 10 minutes. And then there's like so many like buttons I need to press through to like stay on social media if I would want to, that it's like very unlikely for me to actually do it. But I think that worked really well for me because I don't have trouble replacing my new time with better things. Like I'm a really creative person. I have like so many hobbies, and I honestly just don't have enough time for all of them. So I can fill any time instantly. No worries. I think it's like going this essentially like how do you say this? There's a word for this, like raw dog or something. I don't know. But if you go like abruptly from like using social media a lot to like then like putting all these times and not using it, if you are like just naturally gonna fill your time, I think it's way more likely to work than if you don't have these type of hobbies, or if you don't know how to spend your time, or if the only things you would have to spend your time on are things you don't really have positive motivation towards too. So for example, if you would like to replace your social media time with learning, which is like exhausting and you know like all of these things, then it's way harder to go from the one thing to the other thing, because there's probably two things lacking, right? Like your motivation to learn and getting like the ability to get off of social media if you don't want to spend time there anymore. So I personally I really like the approach of introspection. And it's essentially I really like this way of introspection because it's very rational, while at the same time being connected to your emotions. So I would recommend like using this way. It would be, for example, to like use a book or do it in your head, but like the more common use is like journal about how this phone and social media time is influencing your life, and finding like all the negative impacts it has. Because I feel like once we got to that insight, how much it actually influences, and how positive it would be to not do that, and at the same time also be like, okay, what is it positively influencing, and how do I get this like positive influence from something else, then it's way easier to replace it because we're so actively aware around the entire topic. So we're less likely to like softly slip back into using it again because we thought about this actively, and we're going to instantly be like, wait, I see what I'm doing here, you know? While if you make this decision more like passively and don't go as in depth about it, you might be like, it might be easier for you to like slowly slip back into it because you're not aware of like what's happening in that moment. So the best approach is really the approach which is easiest for you to start, I think, and easiest for you to maintain. And then you make it like, and then you can like make that approach better and better and better over time, you know? So for example, like in the beginning, you can only cut down a little bit, or you can cut down with something like doing something instead you like doing, and then move to using it more productive and productively. But yeah, in that regard. Personally, I have quite a lot of hobbies and interests, but my biggest thing that is holding me back is my financial situation. I can't get more building materials, for example. So I'm stuck for the rest of the month, not being able to do anything except being on the phone. Okay. So what would you like to do in your like free time if you wouldn't be on the phone then? Like if your hobbies are like not available, like what would be like what are you missing out on essentially? Like why are you regretting being on the phone? Like what is the story evolving around the addiction essentially? And welcome Lootwald. Welcome to the stream. Oh, there's a big topic starting. What is your view on relationship breakup where one side decided they don't have any emotional connection anymore and felt mentally overwhelmed and feel mentally overwhelmed and can't see a future anymore? They said they know that the other person would do everything for the relationship, but the one person decided that breaking up was the way to go. How do you see it, or why then the other person wanted to work on it? I know it feels something you can't force, but it feels like an open end. Breaks my heart. Hmm. I mean, honestly, that's a sucky situation, right? Like, especially if one side is like ready to give everything, and then the other side is just, and even if you give me everything, it wouldn't be enough. I don't care. And they don't even want to try. But I think it could be a great opportunity. Like, the breakup sucks, but I think it could be a great opportunity to actually look at what you think you deserve, if that makes sense. Like, for the person who's willing to do everything. It might be interesting to look into if it's not just I would do everything, but I'm actually sort of desperate for a partner. Or maybe like I would even like how far would you actually go? Because if it's everything, like I don't feel anybody should be in a relationship and be like I would give everything. Because that could also be just like giving up your personality, right? And I don't think that's a positive thing if you would do that for another person. And usually stuff like this, where one person essentially lacks the ability to prioritize themselves in any way, there's actually a lot of responsibility on the partner to make sure they don't, for example, overstep your boundaries. Because if you're ready to give everything, you wouldn't say if your boundaries are overstepped, for example. Or you're like way more likely to take deals you shouldn't take. And you're way more likely to sacrifice things you shouldn't sacrifice for a relationship. Like giving everything for a person really feels like a dependent attachment style to me. And I know this sounds like a bit like negative on love, but let me explain to you why I'm thinking that way. Because so to me, I was with my husband together for 10 years now. And in the beginning, in like the first years, we had the situation that he would never ask anything from me and never demand anything, never critique me because of anything. And when I would ask for something, he would like always say yes. I maybe wouldn't get it, but he would always say yes. But it was actually like, it felt really unsafe. And it didn't feel like, it wasn't satisfying actually to be in that relationship, because it wasn't like you're in a relationship with another person, but just with like, you know, this like thing with like, with these like colorful birds, they like learn to repeat your sentences after you. It sort of felt like this, like with like a yes sayer who's always saying yes, but emotionally sometimes there's resentment and sometimes there's like disagreement, but not able to share it. And that's actually like really unsafe situation then, even though he doesn't plan to have the resentment or something, you know what I mean? So I don't know, I would maybe look into how you love yourself and why you're willing to, like, what you're willing to sacrifice, like what the last thing would be you would be willing to sacrifice for the other person, and why you're willing to go this far.